Hey everybody, and welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber. I am here visiting with Senator and President of the Senate, Craig Blair. We are talking about Senate Bill 2 and Senate Bill 3. Had to do with the changes to the unemployment benefits that West Virginians receive. You know, we talked about the pros and cons, and that's what this show is all about. Senator Blair, President Blair came down off the podium to speak about it passionately and what this will do and how this will positively affect West Virginia and getting West Virginians back to work. We're going to go right back into this segment and talk about why this is so important to West Virginia. And the most key component that we mentioned earlier was about indexing. So this bill, Senate Bill 2, focuses on indexing. Can you clarify again, what's that mean when you talk about indexing the unemployment rate?
Indexing is where instead of having just a fixed 26 weeks and you get that until your time runs out, it'll make it so that if the unemployment rate is low, and right now we're at a historic low, then you would only be able to draw unemployment for 12 weeks. And as the unemployment rate would creep up, then it expands out to where you could get up to 20 weeks of that unemployment. And it would massage back and forth on the ultimate goal is to have the lowest unemployment rate and to keep it so that people have job opportunities. I can't hear myself now.
Here we are, live from the Capitol. You never know what to expect, President.
There's going to be a marching band.
A band come through.
Marching bands coming by in support of Senate Bill 2 and 3 because they know it's going to be great for the people of West Virginia.
You never know what you're going to get up here.
Yes.
You think we're just going to legislate. So that might be the rallying cry. Did you stage that?
No, I didn't.
Senate Bill 2
I utilized it to my full extent.
So listen, what we were talking about is this would only reduce the amount of workers, the unemployment benefits they would receive when the unemployment rate was high. When it's lower, it's reduced. Is that correct?
That's correct. And it's fair. Look, did you hear, I talked about seasonal work. Let's talk about seasonal work again. And that is that we recognize that in the wintertime, if you're working construction or something, there's not jobs out there. Right now, the average on that is they work 10 months out of the year and 2 off. That's where the season's at. 3 months of unemployment has that covered. That's the low minimum. That part of it is actually covered. Now, if you're off 6 months seasonally, well, that's a problem because I want any of your listeners to tell me where you should be off 6 months out of the year, 6 months vacation, and drawing unemployment that your employer's paying for. No, that is not right.
We have the band here ready. They liked what you had to say. Real quick, and then we'll let you get out of here and we'll go enjoy the band. Senate Bill 3. Senate Bill 3 goes along with Senate Bill 2. It says there's a requirement. You can work and collect unemployment as well. Is that correct?
Right. Absolutely, that you can be able to work. It's a part-time job, up to 30 hours a week. I don't want somebody having a full-time job doing this because they should be looking for that employment opportunity that was in their category. But we know full well that many people that are out here drawing 26 weeks of unemployment are working for cash.
Right.
Okay, they're working for cash on the side as well as drawing an unemployment check, and that is not helping grow our economy in the state of West Virginia, and it's not good for workforce participation. I mean, employers coming into the state of West Virginia.
You just don't want to de-incentivize people for going back to work.
Right. It's lots of times that unemployment check is not enough to help the families out. This helps the families as well.
And lastly, before we let you get out of here, I know you got a big day, Senate President Blair with us today, took some time out, talk about Senate Bill 2 and 3. It passed the Senate, now it's over here. What do you anticipate? You anticipate it coming up this week, next week?
I'm hoping. It's going to be a travesty for economic development and the people of West Virginia if it doesn't pass, both of them. And I want 2 and 3 together. That's a tandem that needs to work together. Well, it eases, number 3 eases the pain on number 1, if there is such a thing as pain.
Well, I appreciate your passion, and I know how much you want to get West Virginians back to work. It's a new concept, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks again for being with us today.
We can be the best in the union if we just believe in ourselves. Dream big and do it.
Get those West Virginians back to work.
Yes.
Thank you, Senate President Blair. We're going to take another quick break. Senate President Blair took the time with us to be here today, talking about Senate Bill 2 and 3, about unemployment benefits in West Virginia. We'll be right back.
People keep asking me how Todd Judy Ford has the best selection of vehicles at a time of national shortage.
The secret is our 130% of Kelly Blue Book for your trade-in.
Everyone wants to trade the car with us and get more money.
And now we're making it even better.
We will beat any other dealer's trade offer by $1,000 guaranteed.
If we can't beat it, we'll just give you the cash.
So bring in that car, upgrade your vehicle, and get top dollar for your trade-in now.
Just go to ToddJudyFord.com and see for yourself.
We know who we are, where we've been, where we're going. Like hospitals all over America, we are changing, redefining, restructuring ourselves to be the best community health system in the region we serve. We are 2 hospitals with more than 30 locations, 450 providers, and 1 mission: to heal. As one, we are Thomas Health, caring for our communities today and tomorrow.
The relationship between a lawyer and a client is based on trust. You have to make certain that the lawyer you hire has your best interests at heart. We typically meet our clients at the worst times of their lives, and it's our job to help them. Over the years, we've been entrusted with some of the biggest cases in West Virginia. That's because we have a track record of success and getting exceptional results. We built a reputation as one of the go-to law firms throughout the state of West Virginia.
Joining me, high-profile lawyer Ben Salango. Ben, it's a real honor to have you on.
In fact, many of our cases come from other lawyers. Lawyers who've worked with us, lawyers who've worked against us, and even those who've merely heard of our results. We're proud of the reputation we've earned in the community for providing exceptional, aggressive legal representation. When you hire my law firm, you don't get excuses, you get results.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber. We are live under the Capitol Dome here. We got the Glenville State Jazz Band back here playing, so if you hear that background music, that's not from us, but you know, we'll take it. You never know. That's what you get when you're on live and location. But hey, today's topic is unemployment and changing unemployment laws here and the benefits that West Virginians receive. We are joined now with Delegate Phil Diserio. We just heard from Senate President Craig Blair, who is a big proponent of this bill, Senate Bill 2 and 3. Now we're going to hear the other side with Delegate Phil Diserio and how this might affect West Virginians negatively. Phil, welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
First, how long have you been up here serving now, Phil?
This is my 9th year.
9th year serving. And before that, tell everybody what you did.
Well, I'm a 42-year member of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, so I've basically lived this my whole life. I have a whole bunch of facts and figures here, but I'll leave that for the professionals and just tell you that I think we're sending the wrong signal with this bill.
So when you talk about reducing the unemployment benefits, down from 26 weeks to 12 weeks, how do you think this will negatively affect workers out there?
Well, first of all, it's not just going to negatively affect workers. It's going to affect our companies here. When you have DuPonts and power plants that have short outages, with this change, people are not going to come home when they have a long-term job to man a short-term job. Other than that, I would just like to go straight into tell you a little bit of the life of a construction worker. And when I say I speak for thousands of construction workers across this state. We are throwing money. The legislature is throwing money at community colleges and technical colleges and telling our young people, hey, if you're not ready for college, the trades is a good place to be. Well, we're sending them money, we're getting them educated. When they go out to the workforce, listen, when it comes to unemployment, they don't care if you're union or non-union when you get laid off. So when you're out there working, each and every one of these young folks that go out there and work in the trades, they know the day that they walk onto that job has an end to it.
Well, also we're like an all-time low, one of our all-time lows right now when it comes to unemployment with the 26 weeks. So Senate President Blair talked about that this would encourage more people to go back, but things are pretty good right now, being 26 weeks. He thinks if it reduces to 12, we'll have even more people going back. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I disagree with that. No one wants to live on unemployment. You can't. That's a buffer for you. I had 3 daughters. There was no sitting around collecting unemployment. I can speak for thousands of people when they say they work from Connecticut to Detroit and everywhere in between, because if you sit at home, and especially if you only have 12 weeks, you're not paying into your benefits. You're not paying into your health insurance, your 401k. No one wants to sit around and do that. Everybody wants to be able to retire at some time, and sitting around collecting unemployment is not going to do it.
So basically, we see all these surrounding states around this route. Most of the states are at 26 weeks.
Yes.
You know, we would be an outlier here. And some of the states that actually have some of the lowest unemployment rates, they're at 26 weeks.
Yes.
So by us changing it, could it have an adverse effect in your opinion?
Oh yes. I mean, this is a big deal. That you need the buffer. It's nothing else but a buffer. And when you're in the construction industry, the coal mining industry, unforeseen things come up. And when a job ends, I don't have the ability for somebody to start another job. It's not because I don't want to go to work.
Talk about, so one of the issues with this bill is it talks about, or one of the proponents is that it's an index. They create an index of the unemployment rate across the whole state of West Virginia. By having this index, you take an average. So in the Eastern Panhandle, it might be 1.5%, but in Southern West Virginia, it might be 7%. Do you think this will adequately show the true number of what the unemployment rate, or is because our state has so many different regions?
Absolutely. That you can't do that because of the Eastern Panhandle, the Northern Panhandle, the Parkersburg area, the Southern coal fields. It's constantly changing. Hate to say it, but it is constantly changing, and I would invite anybody to Brooke County right now.
One of the questions that came up was we need to look at it almost on a county by county basis, not by a state basis, because the unemployment rates in Eastern Panhandle are pretty low right now. There's a lot of jobs over there, but in Southern West Virginia will be a lot higher.
Yeah,
we can't treat them the same.
Cannot treat them the same.
Okay, well, there you hear it right now from Delegate Phil Diserio. He's 9 years in the House of Delegates. Do you have any final words on Senate Bill 2 or 3 there, Delegate Diserio?
Yes, I do. Within the last 2 weeks in my hometown of Follinsby, Cleveland Cliffs Steel Mill announced they were going to shut down coke plant. 288 steel workers. That morning, 300 construction workers were told to leave the job. And I would invite anybody that thinks this is a good idea to come to Follinsby and face those 288 steel workers. Some of them have been working in that mill for 40 years. Their families are there, their kids are there, their grandkids are there, and all of a sudden they don't have a job and they're looking at 12 weeks unemployment. I invite anybody that's going to vote for this bill to come to Brooke County.
Thank you, Delegate Diserio. That's what we try to do here and outside the echo chamber. We get so kind of caught up into this bubble under the dome, but how does it really affect the bills that we introduce and try to pass? How does it affect you, all our West Virginians? So with that, we're going to go to our next commercial break. We'll be right back on Outside the Echo Chamber.
And Marshall wins another one.
I could take any of these guys one-on-one. Oh, really?
Oh, no.
For a limited time, ask about no payments till summer.
Friends and family pricing for everyone, even trash talkers like Wes.
Here in West Virginia, we're known as hard workers, friendly faces, and people with a caring spirit. At Summit Community Bank, those qualities are at the core of all that we do. We're a group of experienced professional bankers that you've known for many years. We work hard to earn your business and will work even harder to help you succeed. We customize banking solutions that work for you. We're Summit Community Bank. Service beyond expectations.
Welcome everybody back to Outside the Echo Chamber. Here we are live under the Capitol Dome. We got the Glenville State Jazz Band back here. There they go, just right on cue, so we're gonna talk a little louder. That's what you get with live production here. Today's topic is the unemployment benefits and changing the law from Senate Bill 2 and 3. How will it affect West Virginians? How may it hurt West Virginians? We've heard from Senate President Craig Blair. We just heard from Delegate Phil Diserio. And now we're going to hear, we have two guests with us today on opposite sides of this issue. We have President of the AFL-CIO, Mr. Josh Shore, and we have Juliet, a lobbyist, who's various companies that are supporting this bill. You're up here lobbying with say, thank you for being here.
You're welcome, sir. I wish I could read lips right now.
I think you brought your own interest music. Is this you, Josh? Did we strike up the band?
It's a jazz band for Tuesday, everyone.
So, Josh, I know we had a rally yesterday. There was a rally with a bunch of your members. Talk to me about that, and why were there so many people out here speaking against this bill?
Yeah, because it's a really bad bill that would have negative consequences on workers all over West Virginia. At a time in which the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund is at the highest level, when unemployment rates are at historic lows, so the fund is healthy. There's not a ton of people getting these benefits. For them to just want to come in and arbitrarily reduce the number of time, the amount of time that someone would qualify for unemployment benefits is just a real slap in the face and a continued attack on working families. The same attack that we've seen for the last 7 or 8 years. You know, they said right to work. If we pass right to work, all these companies are going to move to West Virginia. Did that happen? No. They said eliminate prevailing wage. We do that, all these companies are going to move to West Virginia. Did that happen? No. The list goes on and on and on. This is yet another continued attack on working families, and I hope the bill dies like it should.
Now let's hear from Juliet. Juliet, we just got to speak a little loud. You know, you got the band, but you know, you obviously heard what Josh said. Maybe you heard what he said with the band.
I think I heard about the first 8 seconds. But thank you, Doug. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Well, thanks for being here, Juliet.
Yes.
Now talk to me. Why are you so supportive of this bill and some of your clients supportive of this bill?
Well, it's not just clients. You know, I do represent a national organization called the Opportunity Solutions Project that looks for solutions for states to increase health and welfare program outcomes, increase workforce participation rates, election integrity. We really believe in the power of work and the power of enabling a citizen to become self-sufficient again, so that programs that are out there to provide aid have the resources they need for those who truly are in need of them. With that as the backdrop, I want to start with the health of our unemployment trust fund. We got to remember, it's healthy today because of one-time monies, not because the system is set up to adequately fund the trust fund. We use CARES Act money to bail out the trust fund, and that's going to trigger a rate reduction, which is great for employers, but that means now there's even going to be less money going into the trust fund on an arbitrary 26-week benefit term, because there is no science behind 26 weeks. A lot of states are moving off of 26 weeks. An interesting note of history, in 1938, when our unemployment system first started, it was set at 12 weeks. And when you look in the chronicles of the Social Security Administration, which analyzed this, there was a discussion even all the way back then in the Great Depression of the delicate balancing act between the size of a benefit and it actually providing a benefit versus accidentally, unintentionally serving as a disincentive to work. There are a lot of economists that look at this, but now is the exact right time to take advantage of our healthy economic conditions in the unemployment system so that we can make changes and move our system decades forward. And I understand you're not going to agree with me. I get it. It's okay. You're never going to agree with me. But we have a lot of folks out there who do believe in the power of work, and Senate Bill 3 really is going to do a lot to help them get back into the workforce. Let's look at one component of Senate Bill 3, which is the work search requirements. Right now, under existing laws, say you're somebody who needs the entire 6 weeks, you're only required to do one work search activity per week. That's a maximum of 26. Under Senate Bill 3, even if we do take it down and say it's 12 weeks, you're required to do 4 per week. So you'd have 48 opportunities to find a new job. And that's what unemployment is supposed to be, a temporary bridge between employment opportunities.
Josh, I saw you there shaking your head. Do you?
There is not a single study out there that suggests if you compress the timeline, the amount of time that someone can receive unemployment benefits, there's not a single study that says compressing that time gets workers back into the workplace more quickly. There's not a single study.
It's
interesting. It just does not exist.
Forgive me, I didn't mean to interrupt. When you look at studies, and a lot of them came out on this particular topic in the middle of 2020, at the height of the pandemic, when economies were just barely starting to open back up. And I've looked at a lot of them, and they all tend to cite each other as their sources. I would rather look at the information from Workforce West Virginia, and I want to pause for a second and give them a huge shout out. These folks are working tirelessly to help people get back to work. A lot of the information, a lot of the requirements in these bills have been constructed with their input. When the federal supplements in West Virginia ended in June, within 1 month, 2,000 more West Virginians went to work. That's not a percentage, that's not a manipulation of data. That is a pure count of total employment in the state. And by the end of 2021, 7,900 more West Virginians had gone back into the workforce. And again, that's not from an outside source. That is from Workforce West Virginia.
But one of the things is I do have a chart here, and it shows that, out of the 9 of the 10 states with the highest labor force participation rate,
yes,
they offer 26 weeks or more.
Yeah.
And then there's a study that shows 5 of the 10 states with the lowest labor force have less than 26 weeks. So how do we explain that?
So the labor force participation rate has a lot of factors that go into how it's calculated. A more accurate measure of the impact is who is actually working, and that is your total employment number. Because your labor force participation rate includes people who are on unemployment, who are not working, who may no longer be in the workforce at all because they are in the cash economy or they have gone into self-employment in some regards.
Right.
But total employment are the people who are counted, and that's the number of people who workforce knows are now working versus before.
And Josh, you were shaking your head. You were disagreeing.
I want to agree with her, Juliet.
Hang on, can we just stop the show
let's
right
stop the
now?
show right now.
We're done. The music is
We need to give a shout out to Workforce West Virginia.
Absolutely.
They have done a
Fabulous
fantastic job. And by the way, speaking of them, the acting director, Scott Atkins, sent a letter to all employers last week saying that your unemployment insurance premiums are going to go down 25%.
That's correct.
So, once again, yet another example that the fund is healthy. Look, I mean, what a slap in the face to these workers who, through no fault of their own, get laid off. There was just an announcement last week or the week before from Cleveland Cliffs up in the Northern Panhandle, 280 full-time employees, as well as hundreds of construction workers that just got their pink slip. And now we're saying the leadership up here, some in leadership, want to say you only have 12 weeks to get trained to go find another job. I just think it's a slap in the face. If the fund was in bad shape, that's one thing. If there was, and by the way, there's also been talk about fraud and abuse inside the system. Let's go get them. We support that. There's a bill, Senate Bill 543.
Yes.
Let's pass that bill. This is not about fraud and abuse. This is about slapping workers who, through no fault of their own, lose their job. It's a really sad time that we're still having conversations about this kind of stuff.
I want to return to the trust fund is healthy because of one-time monies. No one disagrees with that. The CARES Act funds were used to bail out the trust fund, and that will trigger a rate reduction. That doesn't mean that the system is set up to adequately fund the trust fund. If you like everything in Senate Bill 3, including motivating people to continue to work part-time and not dock them their unemployment, you cannot afford to do that on a 26-week benefit term. You will bankrupt the system. So for everybody who loves Senate Bill 3, you have to have Senate Bill 2 to afford it. Change is difficult. We would never slap a worker in the face. This is empowering. We want more people in the workforce.
Well,
but we have to do it responsibly.
One of the key indicators in this bill is creating this index and treating the whole state equal. And as we know, that our state is broken up into various
Correct.
regions. You have the Eastern Panhandle, that seems to do very well. Then you have the Northern Panhandle,
Right.
maybe not as much, and Southern West Virginia. We all know the issues down there. So do you think, Josh, that index is a good thing or bad thing? What results would you get from it?
I can tell you, I stood at the protest yesterday with an operating engineer from Calhoun County. And I believe Calhoun County has the highest unemployment rate in the state, upwards of 15 to 20%. You compare that to over in the Eastern Panhandle where you could be at 3 or so percent. So, having a statewide model without taking into consideration that there are lots of differences among our 55 counties is a situation that is destined for failure. And look, if we want to talk about beefing up unemployment benefit and opportunities, we're at the table. But to just simply arbitrarily come in and say, well, 26 was just a made-up number, let's go to 12, which is another made-up number, I think it's a real slap and disservice to a lot of West Virginians that have done their due diligence to support our great state.
And Juliet, same question. I mean, why do you think the index is a good thing?
Because I couldn't hear a thing just
So
now.
we'll talk about why the index and treating the whole
Okay.
state equally is a good thing.
So first of all, the U.S. Department of Labor requires you use a statewide average. There are problems when you use individual counties. We wouldn't be allowed to do that. And for people who don't understand,
It'd be hard to do
our
too,
workforce offices, they operate on federal grants. So we really have to play nice with the feds, so to speak. The other important thing to remember is what is actually happening in West Virginia. And what is actually happening is there's not a single county in West Virginia in 2019 or 2021 that had an average unemployment time spent actual time spent, not an extrapolation, not a percentage, actual time spent, not a single county, greater than 12 weeks. The average, statewide average for time spent on unemployment in 21 was 9.5 weeks. In the fourth quarter of 2021, the average time spent on unemployment was 6 weeks. And Workforce testified in Senate Judiciary that by and large, the great majority of people on unemployment find their new job within 6 weeks of benefits. After 6 weeks, the likelihood of them finding a new job before the end of the benefit term, however long that benefit term is, drops off significantly. So again, this is what our workforce experts are telling us. This is not an extrapolation of data.
So as we come to close here with this segment, and as the band gets ready to march past us here.
Well, I've requested a song for you.
You got a song? Okay, yeah. I can't wait to hear the song. But hey, final remarks, Juliet. We'll start with you. So you don't agree that having do you agree or disagree that having longer benefits, the people back to the workforce, get back to their job, does it disincentivize them by having longer benefits? Is that what you're...
Again, I hope I heard you correctly. There is no magic to 26 weeks. It was a number picked at least 40 years ago. We've had other benefit terms in West Virginia history over time. I think it makes a lot more sense to put an economic basis between the benefit term and the actual state of our economy. I think that will allow our system to grow and adjust as our economy changes over time, rather than having an arbitrary number fixed in time that has no flexibility to it. And I also think that we also have to modernize how we empower people to find work, and that's the companion in Senate Bill 3.
Josh, final thoughts on this bill, and you don't agree that by having longer benefits discourages people to not go back to work?
There's no data. But I will say this, unemployment insurance benefits is a benefit of employment. It's like health care, pension and retirement, dental, vision. The employer, and it's managed and mandated by the state, the employer pays it. So all this is just yet another takeaway from working families, from their benefit structure. And we've seen this attack for 7 or 8 years now. I hope people are paying attention and remember those that support working families and remember those that don't come election day.
Well, there you've had it. We have President AFL-CIO Josh Sword. We have Juliet Terry here talking about Senate Bill 2 and 3 and unemployment benefits and how it may affect all West Virginians. We got the Glenville State Jazz Band. They sound a lot louder than a jazz band, that's for sure. But we're gonna take a commercial break, and I think Juliet's gonna go request a song to play for me. We'll be right back with Outside the Echo Chamber.
People keep asking me how Todd Judy Ford has the best selection of vehicles at a time of national shortage.
The secret is our 130% of Kelley Blue Book for your trade-in.
Everyone wants to trade the car with us and get more money.
And now we're making it even better.
We will beat any other dealer's trade offer by $1,000 guaranteed.
If we can't beat it, we'll just give you the cash.
So bring in that car, upgrade your vehicle, and get top dollar for your trade-in now.
Just go to toddjudyford.com and see for yourself.
We know who we are, where we've been, where we're going. Like hospitals all over America, we are changing, redefining, restructuring ourselves to be the best community health system in the region we serve. We are 2 hospitals with more than 30 locations, 450 providers, and 1 mission: to heal. As one, we are Thomas Health, caring for our communities today and tomorrow.
Here in West Virginia, we're known as hard workers, friendly faces, and people with a caring spirit. At Summit Community Bank, those qualities are at the core of all that we do. We're a group of experienced professional bankers that you've known for many years. We work hard to earn your business and will work even harder to help you succeed. We customize banking solutions that work for you. We're Summit Community Bank. Service beyond expectations.
And Marshall wins another one.
I could take any of these guys one-on-one. Oh, really?
Oh, no.
For a limited time, ask about no payments till summer.
Friends and family pricing for everyone, even trash talkers like Wes.
Hey everyone, well, welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber. Like I said, we're live under the Capitol Dome. We got the Glenville State Jazz Band. You never know what you're going to see. I'm excited to join this segment with Vice President of News and Executive Editor, Mr. Lee Wolverton, to talk about all the stories that we have coming up. Welcome back today.
Thank you.
And we have a special guest. We have a special visitor here, the new Miss West Virginia, Miss Cydney Fields. Cydney, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
So you have to talk into the mic here when the band speaks. When the band gets going here, you know, you have our entrance music. Lee requested a song, so it might get a little loud. But Miss Cydney is originally from Mingo County, and she now lives in Putnam County, and you are now our current Miss West Virginia.
I sure am, our current Mrs. West Virginia. I competed for Mrs. America and made it to top 6, and now I just get to represent the state and go around and meet individuals.
So tell me that experience. How was it? Was it nerve-wracking becoming one of the finalists?
Yes, so I've never done a pageant before. Mrs. West Virginia was my first pageant, so I went to Mrs. America. I had no idea what to expect, but I just smiled, remembered why I was there and what I was representing, and had fun with it.
What's it feel that you have all of West Virginia out here cheering for you as Mrs. West Virginia?
It's really exciting, but it can be really nerve-wracking as well. But it's nice to know that people are in your corner and they want to see you do well, and they want to see someone who can represent their state as well.
When you met all these other women from all around, you know, the country, you know, what was that like, you know, as you, the one person chosen from all of us to represent West Virginia? What did you tell them about little old West Virginia?
Oh, that we have the best people, the prettiest mountains, and everybody has grace and humility, and that's the best part about living in West Virginia.
Now, I can't let you get out of here without telling me, you know, every Miss West Virginia, you have your, you know, what's your drive, what's your passion, what are you out here striving to go around the state advocating for this year?
So I actually work at the West Virginia Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I'm a social worker, I'm a domestic violence advocate working on the impact of violence on children. And so I go around the state actually talking about that, and I actually spend some time here at the Capitol educating our legislators on domestic violence and how that impacts our children.
Well, once again, this was awesome having you stop by the show today. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sure everyone's going to want to grab a picture with you and get a chance to meet Mrs. West Virginia this upcoming year. Thank you, Miss Cydney, for being with us today.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. Next we have Vice President of News, Lee Wolverton here. We talk about Lee. We've had an exciting week. As you know, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of session here. We have about 2.5 weeks left. Tell us about what some of the exciting things our reporters are working on.
First, I want to thank you, Doug, for having the marching band and Mrs. West Virginia here just for me. That was really nice of you to do that. It wasn't necessary, but appreciate
I mean, we could have had the red carpet, but you had entrance music, you had Mrs. West Virginia. I mean, this is the highlight of your week right here, right? You never know what you're going to get. You know, we started this segment, and we're right into the topic with Senator President Craig Blair. Next thing you know, the band gets fired up. You could barely hear a thing he said, so we had to start all over. But that's what you get. Just like we planned it, right? I thought he did that on purpose, you know, to drown out all the questions I was asking.
Of course.
So no, we've had a lot of things. Before we start, Lee, we've had a lot of news at the newspaper. We've had some promotions. We've had some new people and some new roles. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, we've elevated Jill Briggs to the position of Public Relations and Marketing Director. So she's going to be in charge of marketing the newspapers, our staff, and all the things we're doing. We've elevated Grant Traylor, who is our Herald Dispatch sports editor, to regional sports editor. Grant comes in with a lot of experience for a guy as young as he is, a lot of enthusiasm, and a plan for how he's going to make us the most efficient that we can be. And we've elevated Bashay Sekla to the position of digital editor. Bashay's a young guy from West Virginia University we hired this year, and he's proved a very quick study, stepped right in and adjusted, and we made those decisions. So we're excited in all three cases.
All for the good.
Yeah, all for the good, absolutely.
So, you know, we have, you know, our family of papers, newspapers all around the state, from the Charleston Gazette-Mail, the Herald Dispatch, Southern West Virginia, what we cover, the Putnam Herald, the Cole Valley News, Wayne County, the Logan Banner, we have the Lincoln Sentinel, Lincoln Journal. You know, how do you manage a team with all these, you know, so-called issues as they arise that affect all of West Virginia? Talk about your political team again and what some of the stories they're working on.
Well, we have a couple of stories we're following right now. Lacey Pearson is working on a story about competing House and Senate bills. The Senate bill now has been shelved that would close off access to inmate records as well as juvenile records. There's a competing bill that will provide access to those records to foster parents and guardians. It's still problematic for us from a right to know standpoint in that it blocks access to jail records, and of course Lacey follows that issue very closely. Mike Toney is writing a story for tomorrow about a parks bill that would allow third-party vendors contracts to do, among other things, build recreational facilities. There's concern among some opponents of this that it could allow things like roller coasters to be built in state parks. So he and I had a good talk about that last night, and he's working to learn more about it. And I also asked both of them to follow up on two stories from today. The first was Lacey Pearson's story on the Supreme Court Justice Bill that would extend the time requiring a special election to 3 years from 2, which effectually gives the governor more power, more authority to appoint somebody for a longer period of time. So we have a lot of questions about that. And I asked Mike Toney to do some additional work on the Public Energy Authority, specifically to ask what's going on there. Why is this being revived after being dormant for roughly a decade?
Well, day 42 brings a lot of excitement. We're almost at the crossover day, which means all the bills in the House of Delegates have to be finalized and sent over to the Senate, and then all the bills that were originated in the Senate have to be over here on crossover day, and then we take the last 2 weeks. So you're going to really see those key issues kind of move up, like this unemployment issue that the Senate passed out. They passed it, but the House has yet to take it up. Mm-hmm. So you never know what the priorities of the House and how they may differ with the Senate. I know there was a deliberate intent bill out there that we've had no movement on in the House of Delegates yet, but we've had a few public forums.
I was just looking to see if we could see Evan Jenkins backtracking through here.
He was here last week. He was hot and heavy last week. I think he might have had this week off. But as you can see, there's always a lot going on up here, and I appreciate all that bringing the news, bringing the issues to all the people of West Virginia on all our platforms. So thanks again, Lee, for tell the news team, keep up the good work and continue to cover and let the people know what's going on.
And we know you guys will keep it interesting.
we try to make it fun for all parties involved. Well, there you have it, everybody. This week's second edition of Outside the Echo Chamber. You never know what you're going to get. We had Miss West Virginia here. Thanks to Senate President Craig Blair. Thanks to Delegate Phil Diserio from Brooke County. We had Josh Sword from the AFL-CIO president. And we also had Juliet Terry speaking as for the unemployment compensation bill. And none other than our own Vice President of News, Lee Wolverton, talking about all the stories that we have coming up this week. Hey, listen, if you want to contact us, tell us how we can do better. Tell us what we did well. You want to make fun of my hair, you want to make fun of whatever. We've had some comments out there that said, hey, Doug, we really appreciate the issues that you brought to us. We really do want to get behind the scenes, tell you how the issues come about, who's for them, who's against them, who does it help, who does it hurt? We really want to put West Virginians first. In our family of papers, our network, we're going to bring you the best print and best digital product we can to give you all that's important. You can reach out to us at Outside the Echo Chamber. Our email, Outside the Echo Chamber at hdmediallc.com. That's Outside the Echo Chamber at hdmediallc.com. You can reach out to us and comment on Facebook. You can also go to our website and go back and watch the show again, share it with your friends. Please, we want to do whatever we can to help keep West Virginia informed. So once again, thank you. Tune in this Thursday at 9:30 for the next episode of Outside the Echo Chamber, where we will be taking a deeper dive into all those new issues and how they affect you and all West Virginians.